so far as the NRM, what do you anticipate on the day, especially for your supporters?
Well, we'll be happy that the president-elect, who has had overwhelming endorsement by the people of Uganda in the last elections, will be formally sworn in, so that he takes the reins of power for the next 5 years and continues to lead Uganda to prosperity.
Right. Today you tweeted something about the Cancer Institute and the building of bunkers starting, and some people may say that this is probably a knee-jerk reaction to what happened. The machine is down, and so government had to come up with all the resources in record time and kind of salvage the situation. Actually,
the reverse is the case. Government for the last number of years has been planning to upgrade the Uganda Cancer Institute and to acquire new equipment, radiotherapy equipment, and to build new bunkers for the modern radiotherapy equipment. Only recently there was that incident where the radiotherapy machine had problems. This merely accelerated all the arrangements that were being made, and we have now launched the bunkers. They are going to be constructed by ROCO. There will be several bunkers, about 6 bunkers, increasing the capacity that we have been having from 1 to 6. So this has been a plan of government working with the International Atomic Energy Agency to meet the increased demand of our people to get radiotherapy treatment for the increasing number of cancer cases that we are seeing in Uganda and in the rest of the world.
It must be an achievement for you as first of all, the NRM and government at large, the fact that you've been serving not just Uganda but the region and now increasing the capacity. What are some of the other achievements that the party, NRM, is proud of?
Let me just say that to complete the point about cancer, because of the work that has been going on at Mulago on cancer treatment, and even discoveries of new cancers at Mulago, the East African countries have agreed that Uganda Cancer Institute shall be the regional center for East Africa, and the East African Institute on Cancer is going to be based at Mulago. This is a big recognition to the work done by our scientists, our doctors, and the government.
We're going to be serving the region. Isn't that too much to ask?
No, the region has their different countries have their cancer facilities, but in terms of capacity building in a specialized manner for the region, instead of country X or Y sending people to the United States to specialize in cancer treatment, they will be coming to Uganda. And instead of Uganda sending people abroad, they will be trained locally, because we are going to have those training facilities.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to ask you, we are seeing specialists going out of this country. One, because the government is unable to pay them the money that they need. There are no facilities. The working conditions are still bad. The other day we ran a story of interns who have not been paid for up to 6 months. Do we have the capacity to sustain these people, to even train other countries?
There are some temporary administrative issues. That's why some of the salaries may be delaying. But even the conditions of the health workers are going to be gradually improved by government, and they will become more and more attractive for Ugandans and non-Ugandans.
When you say attractive,
come and work in Uganda.
What do you mean attractive when you say attractive?
Attractive in terms of working conditions, working facilities, working environment, and salaries will be attractive and competitive.
Doctor, let's move on to some of the achievements that you have had as a party, the NRM, in the last in the last term. What are you proud of?
Well, really, we have accomplished a lot. I would say the first one is consolidation of peace and security in the whole country. And this is important for Uganda because, as you very well know, for many years, Uganda was in conflict with various rebel groups. But the fact that the country is stable, is peaceful, is a major, major achievement. Secondly, we have had time to strengthen and build political institutions and improve governance. And I have in mind the fight against corruption is intensifying, the necessary laws are in place, and where we need amendment, like the leadership code law, we have recently amended it. So there are a number of measures. Judiciary has been strengthened, and I was happy to see His Excellency the President swearing in more judges, because these have been some of the bottlenecks to improve governance, but those are being removed. So there has been improved governance. Number 3, we have scored a lot in the area of infrastructure development. For example, in the last 5 years alone, we have added on another 1,000 kilometers of paved roads, from 3 to 4,000 kilometers of paved roads. We think that's good work. We have embarked on major construction of hydropower stations. Apart from having opened Bujagali, construction work is going on in Karuma, where we're going to get 600 megawatts.
And that is still disputed, Doctor. You still have the Simbas of this world. You suspend officials who have done shoddy work. A national project like that, for lack of better word, mishandled. And it looks like we are still going to stall and talk about it and nothing will be done.
No, the contrary is going to be the case. The disciplinary measures that have been taken have actually been taken so that work is not obstructed in any way. And work, the issues that have occurred are being addressed by government without obstructing the continuation of the work.
Isn't government concerned about the cost of doing this work? We keep going back. If you look at Ethiopia, that has built a dam of 6,000 megawatts at a lesser price, and for us we seem to be spending more to get less.
Well, of course, this is a question of science in building of dams, because you have to look at the amount of water that you are able to produce, to have. Ethiopia has much greater capacity to generate that power than we have on our own River Nile. And secondly, the price for the kilowatt hour that will be producing at Karuma is comparable to many other countries. So in my view, Karuma, Isimba are on course at acceptable prices per megawatt, and we should support that construction so that the people of Uganda, indeed, and the people of the region can benefit from having enough power.
The fight against corruption, Doctor, has been a major talking point in the NRM, and the President has also from time to time said he's trying to handle this, but it never seems to be done. You have agencies like the CID that are infected with corruption, and the head of the CID the other day saying, my police officers, my investigating officers are also corrupted. How do you hope to change this in the next 5 years?
The police are people like you and me. In as much as there may be corruption in NTV, there may be corruption in police. I think the critical point is to strengthen the investigative capacity so that the people who have committed a crime can easily be investigated, prosecuted, and then set an example to the rest to emulate.
Who do you equip to investigate these cases?
Well, what we are really doing now is to build the capacity within the police force to investigate, because that's the police force that we have. And I think they are trying. Secondly, we are strengthening the IGG to also investigate these cases.
Critics say that you are equipping the police more with hardware than stuff like institutional capacity to do the more required work. You're giving them tear gas, you're bringing members into the country, and that you're doing very well, which are used to oppress Ugandans. So what do you say to that?
I think the police is being equipped adequately to be able to deal with the challenges of the day.
Challenges of the day include
Yes.
people who are demonstrating against unfair treatment?
Those
that a
people who
challenge
break
of
the
the
law should be dealt with, including, where necessary, to stop them, and if necessary, stop them by tear gas. So really, it should be the reverse. It should be them to be told not to violate the law. Because if they violate the law, then the police has no choice but to enforce the law.
The next term for President Yoweri Museveni and the government which you serve seems to start with this kind of operations where people are being arrested, where people are being tear gassed, where people are being shot, where we have army on the streets. Is this going to go on till the end of the 5 years, sir?
No, as we said, security is a primary consideration for stability of any country, for development of any country. Therefore, the police is always there, and if necessary, the army can come in. After all, the critical point is to ensure law and order and ensure that there is security. And both the army and the police are in that wide spectrum of making sure that the country is secure.
Is it ensuring law and order, or it is quietening the voices that seem to say you are doing this wrongly, you need to work on this, please bring an alternative policy, and your critics will say that you are beginning to go back to the regimes that you went to the bush to fight against? When you close the spaces of discussion, when you refuse the media from covering opposition activities, that seems to be the kind of trend that forced the president plus the NRM to the bush.
The contrary is actually the case. We are insisting on respect of law and order, and those instruments that you are talking about, police, tear gas, and others, only come in when the law is violated. So the first primary preventive line is for people to respect the law. If people respect the law, then the question of tear gas will be out. Let nobody invite the use of tear gas by violating and breaking the law.
Let me just refer to something here, because it looks like your government seems to be cited in very many reports by human rights organizations. They say that it keeps violating and the rights of its citizens. One of those organizations is mandated by the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda to bring out and cite any cases of human rights violation. And the Human Rights Commission said that there were various incidents of unreasonable force by the police before and after the election. The Human Rights Watch has questioned the continued use of force and detention, of course, against the opposition leader. There's a report also, Amnesty International. It says police brutality and restrictions of the right to freedom of peaceful assembly have increased. What do you say about this?
Well, my general criticism of some of these organizations is that they jump at the conclusion, at the symptoms. They don't see how issues have evolved. I would invite them to be more investigative, to realize that some of the measures taken have been taken because of significant and persistent violation of the law. So really the critical point that I'm stressing is that let people be law-abiding. There will be no need for police or, for that matter, for the army to get involved in arresting anybody or tear-gassing anybody. That is really the point. Let people abide by the law. On the contrary, if people are violating the law, the police and government have no choice but to ensure that the law is respected.
And that will include shooting them if they have to.
Let me tell you that the commitment of government is to preserve life and really ensure that the law is followed. So whatever we do should be consistent with the law.
Doctor, you are the leader of government business, and many of our teachers have been crying foul, and they've been saying that the money is very little. Of course, the working conditions are still bad. What is the plan of the NRM specifically for the next 5 years for teachers, for health workers?
Well, government, as you know, has been gradually reviewing the payment, the salaries of government workers, including teachers, even more recently. So it's a continuous process of reviewing the working conditions. And of course, this is dependent on availability of resources. So as the economy continues to improve and do well, government will similarly look at working conditions of the government workers with a view to improving the working conditions.
Doctor, I have two questions for you before I let you go. We have just gotten out of an election, and you are talking about the improvement of the economy. And in most countries, the year before and after the election, economies are not doing very well. What are we planning to attract more investors? And well, similarly related to the current state of affairs, where you see police and army on the street, do investors, when they see this, do they get attracted to invest in our country? How do we work past that?
Well, we're really saying that people with different views from those that may be held by those of us in government should express those views in accordance with the law, and therefore in a manner that will not antagonize or scare away investors, because the growth of the economy depends on investments, both the local and external investors coming in. So let us not sacrifice jobs simply because we are not obeying the law. We are insisting on ensuring that we create a peaceful and enabling environment which will encourage investors, and the investors will consequently require workers and therefore create jobs. The more we do that, the better. And both government and the opposition must be interested in this peaceful environment where they can operate politically without obstructing investments.
All right. Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.